Welcome to the Far From Average podcast, where we speak about topics and interview people who are far from average so you can take your business and your life to the next level. I have a guest that we've had on a couple of times. He was actually our first episode.
Yes.
He was our first episode, but he's brought his business partner in to speak more about the Turo cars and the other stuff that you got going, because I know you do a lot of different entrepreneurial things that we want to get into. But go ahead, both of you guys, go ahead and introduce yourselves.
So my name's DeMario. Basically, I have multiple investments. I help people get involved in understanding financial literacy. And my partner here, we have over 125 cars that we rent out.
Dang.
My name is Jose Moreno. I'm the founder of SD City Rentals. We're located in San Diego. We have cars around the U.S. and we have 75 in San Diego.
Cool. Let me just move this real quick. Put that right under you. So that's out the way. Man, that you said 100 and how many cars?
So together we have 125 cars.
125 cars. Yeah. What made you guys want to get started in renting out cars?
So how I got started was I seen someone on Instagram. They had a Maybach, and they said how they started getting all these cars. They got Maybach and an I8, all types of crazy cars. And they said, I just got it, and I started renting them. I said, damn, I'm going to try it. So I tried it. I read a book. What was the book? It was a $1 book. It was a flash sale. It just came up about Turo. So I ran it. I bought a Honda. I ran the play and started making money. I was like, okay. So then once I started running the play and making money, I got another car. And then I met my first business partner. We went in on some cars together and then just started scaling from there.
Dang. When did you guys connect?
How many cars did you have when we connected?
I would say around 13.
Yeah.
13.
Yo, I think we connected, last year?
Yeah,
last year he hit me up. This was when I was doing credit funding, and I helped him get some funding, and we grew a relationship based off of that, of him being a client. And then I'm just like, man, like I want to expand out of Las Vegas, and then we started working on that. Like when I started getting into the car space, it was between Airbnb and Turo. And the only reason why I literally read all of the 100 pages in terms and conditions in Airbnb and all the laws out in Vegas. So I said, you know what? Turo is a lot easier to get into, and everybody has a car. Like that should be easier. So I got into it just by seeing these two platforms. But originally I was a consumer of Turo. I rented out really nice cars, Alfa Romeos, BMWs. And I was like, man, this is so easy. I think I was under 21 or under 25 at the time. Yeah, so I was like...
So you got that extra fee.
Yeah, so you can't go get no BMW at 20 at Enterprise. They're like, no, these people were giving me like their babies to drive. And I was just like, this is really cool. I can do this too. And then I literally just started getting cars after that.
Dang, that's dope. So how does somebody go from getting 13 cars to now getting in the hundreds? Is there something that you guys did different from when you started to now, or are you just rinsing and repeating the same thing?
A lot of rinsing and repeating, but also making it better and making more profits. So on a car that, in the time when I first started, I was making 800 off this car. So one specific car, Honda HR-V, I was making 800 a month. And then I started just getting better and learning more, and now I'm making 1,600 a month off that one car.
What did you do to change the amount that you were making?
I just figured out my marketing better, my insurance better, and then I wasn't piggybacking off Turo's marketing. I was doing my own marketing, finding my own clients.
And how were you doing that?
Man, just consistency. All the time I'm thinking, how can I market my business? I'm on Facebook, Instagram, Google, everywhere. I just got on LinkedIn and Nextdoor for the advertisement as well.
So did you just use Turo to kind of get the ball rolling, and now you guys are doing more private rentals?
Exactly, and Turo's really good for getting experience.
Yeah, and I tell a lot of people, and me and him had many conversations about marketing. I believe in how if I can get a video that goes viral, then more and more people see my business.
Right.
So my part in the business now is really just a market. Like, how do I look at getting on podcasts? How do I look at marketing these cars? And one of the plays that I really like, and I'll go ahead and give it. So there's a platform called Hire Car, and Hire Car is where you rent out cars to Uber and Lyft drivers. Okay. Now, the difference between Hire Car and Turo is this one's specific for the Uber and Lyft drivers, but it's not as regulated like Turo, okay? So what I do is I go ahead and post my car on the app, but in the bio, I put my phone number and say this car can be rented out for weekly rentals.
On the app?
On Hire Car. I put it directly there. So when people are seeing it, again, it's less regulated. Their customer service isn't as good. They're not as on it. So I can do that on Hire Car. This can get you banned on Turo. So when people look at it, if I don't message them, because Hire Car, we're known for people not messaging each other back. So the renters get upset. So they see the number, like, oh, I'm gonna text them. Literally, I posted one car. It was a Toyota Corolla. Okay. I posted the first picture as a Toyota, and then the second picture was my number. I got 30 leads for rental cars in one day. So more than the amount of cars that I had at the time. So this is one of the things that I really like to do. How can we, leverage these platforms and get some of the clients? So Hire Car has been one of the best ways to do it. Other ways is going through Facebook groups that are Uber and Lyft driver groups and post that you have a Uber rental. If you're doing Uber and Lyft drivers, right? That's another way. Facebook groups is huge. Facebook, friends and family. These are ways to get people to talk about that you have rental cars. And that's how I really differentiated myself in this space, and how we're able to go from, 125 cars. By the time this is on, we'll probably have 130. We'll have 10 more cars, because the marketing is like this. Most people in the industry fail because they do not have enough renters. But when you have more renters at any given time than the cars you have, then we're always just like, we need more cars.
Dang. So that's why you're constantly adding more cars. So what are all the methods that you're using to actually get the cars?
Okay, so one of the ways I'll start is we use a lot of just traditional financing. I know a lot of times I talked about investors and stuff, but I do want to talk about some of the financing. When I first started, I did get the cars in my personal name. Now, if you have 1 to 3 cars, that's doable, right? So I use platforms like Carvana, because they'll ship the car directly to you. And I really like that, because maybe somebody's in a smaller area and they don't have all the dealerships, right? Or they have lesser credit. They're not at a 700. Carvana is really good because they'll ship the car to you, right? So I really like Carvana and their prices. So we use Carvana. I use Vroom. So for the first 10 cars that we got, we use Vroom, Carvana, Capital One, and we did all of these off of pre-approvals, right? So they're not even hard pulling your credit. If you go to a regular dealership right now and say, I want to get a car, they say, okay, you're going to look at a car, they're going to run you through probably at least 5 banks.
Right.
5 to 10 banks. Carvana doesn't do that. They run you through 1. Vroom does 1. They all do soft pulls, right? And that's why I really like it, because if you're interested in getting this space, see if you can even get approved for a car by getting a pre-approval through one of those, instead of going to the dealership and guessing if you can or cannot even finance a $60,000 car.
What kind of car do you suggest they start with, though?
So I really like right now, I'm really liking a Toyota Camry. Those are really good cars. I started off with something similar. And what we do now off of Turo, we're making anywhere from $400 to $450 per week for a Toyota Camry. The average payment for a Toyota Camry isn't that expensive. It's around $450.
Yeah.
The nice ones are $450.
Right.
So you see how we already pay for the car note in a week, and then we're profit every other week.
Dang.
Yeah.
And then you guys are just rinsing and repeating.
And then rinsing and repeating over and over. And I'd say for every finance car, you should get one cash car.
And when should I start introducing other people into it and start getting the OPM, other people's cars, the investors? Yeah,
so I think you can do this at any time. But the biggest thing is having the education, right? So it's very simple. The very first thing you should do is go on the Turo app and understand what you're looking at. Because the easiest people to do is friends and family. Hey, look, I see this app. I see this is how much you can make, because I recommend starting with Turo first. This is what we can make, because Turo has a calculator, bro. They make it easy.
Yeah, they have a website, right?
Yeah. And then once you know that, Turo handles the insurance. Turo handles most of the stuff that me and him have to deal with off of Turo. They handle it. So you can start with car number 1. Hey, I ain't got no money. I got bad credit. All I have right now is time. So you ask your friends and family, hey, who has an extra car that wants to make extra money? And that's the easiest way to start. Other than that, I think people could start at any time. It's really one of those things.
The Turo process is very beneficial for someone just getting started, because you start getting familiar with the check-in process. Because if you're doing it off of Turo, you still got to get the same pictures. You got to get everything noted, because if something happens, they can still deny your claim if you don't have the right proof. So you got to learn to do that, and that automatically transfers over to when you start doing it on your own and building your own brand and doing it private.
So they need this for your insurance. They need the same amount of documentation of before the car and after the car as going through Turo.
You should definitely have the same amount of documentation, if not more, because you're not dealing with Turo to protect you. Now it's just you.
Now it's just you. So what does that look like? Like, how many photos are you guys taking per car? Like, what all should I check for if I'm doing it, whether I'm doing it private or through Turo?
Man, you can't rush the process. You got to take a picture of each panel, each tire, the inside panels, because if they get caught up with something and they start, breaking the doors down because they think there's drugs or something, you need to be able to invoice the customer for that. So everything, windshields, windows, you got to have proof of everything, because in court, if you got to take a renter to court, then, you got to have everything on point.
Have you guys had to do that?
We got some things in the process.
Taking a renter to court?
Yeah, man, we had some processes, man. Like my first car, it was a Honda, and I was so hyped up, because it was my first car that I really bought, because I didn't really have a lot of guidance on how to buy a car. So I figured it out, got a car, started running the plate, and then when I started going private, it got impounded because it actually got seized. So someone was smuggling people in my car, because I'm in San Diego.
Is it people?
Yeah. I'm in San Diego, so I'm so close to the border. They got caught up. Man, they had my car for 7 months.
Did you have to pay the note?
Oh yeah, you got to pay for all that. So that's why we're trying to get the money back.
So how much was that? That would have been like a car payment. What was a car? You got a car
like
payment?
$200-300.
Yeah. So look, when you go through Turo, right, you sign an agreement saying that you cannot go after diminished value and loss of use. So you can't do this. But if you do it privately, you can. So not only I have to get paid back for the notes. So I was paying the notes for all that time, the insurance for all that time. But since I'm my own company, the benefits of that is I can go after loss of use. So it came out to around $10,500 in loss of use alone. So the whole thing is around $18,000 loss. Man. But just a loss of use alone, because we were renting it for $350 a week at the time, is $10,500.
Yeah, I think that a lot of Turo people don't mention some of the things that can happen, and people get blindsided when they join or they get in on the business. Is there any other situations that people should look out for in the event that they do start renting their car privately or on Turo?
I think the biggest thing is like claims. A lot of people don't get their claims right. So on Turo specifically, I say 75 photos at least, and you want to go all around it. People are going to smoke in your cars. I've had people break the mirrors and the visors. Like, things that you would normally never take pictures of will get broken. People will take your spare tire. They'll steal it. I had somebody change the tire. I had a brand new $200 tire. Instead of just calling us and saying that the tire was flat, they went and switched it at a used tire shop. So they got like a $30 tire. And we're looking and we're like, yo, they switched the tire on this car. So people will get it, swap parts on your cars. So really take photos of 75 photos, 100 photos of all around the car, because I look at it like this. Yes, it's going to it's going to be a little bit of time, but I make a lot of money just on claims, right? Because let me break it down. So say on my Mustang that I bought today, somebody burned a hole in my seat. Turo paid me $1,100. So I can, or I don't have to get it fixed. So if you don't get it fixed, you're $1,100. Your car, depreciates a little bit because there's a hole in the seat. It's very small, right? Or you find the right body shop and you're not paying $1,100. Maybe you're paying $700. Turo doesn't say send us the money back. That's your money now. So we made a lot of money on claims. The biggest mistake Turo hosts do is they get on the 90-10 plan. The 90-10 plan is where you take 90% of your earnings, you pay Turo 10%. They don't give you any insurance like they do on the other plans. So you have a higher deductible and they're not going to cover anything. So that's the biggest issue, because if that had happened on a higher plan, it would have been a $2,500 plus deductible, and no one wants to spend that. So I think people don't recognize that you can actually make money on claims. If they did, they would say, oh, let's take more pictures, right? If you do that with an enterprise car, they're going to make money. They're going to make a lot of money. You smoke an enterprise car, they're going to charge you like $500.
Dang, just to smoke. So you're making a lot of money just on claims.
Just on claims.
And you always got to make sure you got the tire depth reader. So like it's a tool.
The tread depth.
Yeah. Tread depth.
I remember there you go. So
if they like do burnouts in your car, you have proof that that you had a lot of tread on there. And also, if they get in an accident, they could say, oh, the tires had no tread, and the insurance could deny you. So, and then if you have proof, they're going to approve you.
Dang.
That's happened to me on my Mustang. They burned out the back tires, brand new tires. These tires are like track tires, so it costs like over $1,000 for all the tires, right? They burned out the tires. It's a special order to get these tires, right? 3 days just to get these tires. But we did the tire tread depth checker before and after photos, and they had to cover all new tires for the car. Turo did
the renter.
Yeah, the renter. The renter burned out the tires in my Mustang 5.0, bad, melted them. And I could see on the tracker that they were doing over 100 on side streets. I literally could see that. And so we took the photos on the after photos, and you could see it was like rubber, burned rubber, all in the inside of the tire well. Oh. So I took pictures of that, and Turo wound up reimbursing us. It was over $1,000 that the renter had to pay.
Oh, yeah. I had a story like that. It was 2020 wide body Hellcat. It was a private rental, and I did the same thing. I measured the tire tread, right? And then I found out, I got a call from the police saying, oh, your car got impounded because they were burning rubber in it. So I said, okay. So I went to the impound lot, got the car out, invoiced the customer. The customer paid for the whole set, right? But only the back ones were worn, but they were still in the green because they were brand new. So in that case, I pocketed $1,000 because I invoiced them for 2 of the tires, and I didn't have to change them because they were still in the green.
Dang. Is that all the crazy stories that you? I want to hear more stories.
I got one more.
This is crazy.
So I actually had a renter drive my BMW in Las Vegas, and it was flooding. This was one time it was flooding real bad, and they got caught in a flood in Henderson, and the BMW engine stopped completely.
Right.
That engine was replaced by insurance, and it cost them $27,000. The insurance company had to pay $20,000. We had to do this off the road because it was just so much at the time. And it was $27,000 for a new engine.
The person had to pay that?
The insurance company paid $27,000.
Oh,
the person. Okay. It's hard to prove that, you know.
Yeah.
So
the circumstances are kind of weird.
We paid a $500 deductible, my company, and we got reimbursed, but it was $27,000 worth of damage because they got caught in the flood. And that's something things people don't think about. Like natural disasters or things that are happening with weather. Cars get messed up all the time by just simple stuff like that.
Dang.
Yeah.
What plan do you use for your Turo cars?
I use a 75-25 plan. If it's a car that we know in Vegas that's going to get dinged up, I do use a 60-40. So that's how we were able to get $1,000 for a seat.
$1,000 for a seat. So what are the benefits then? Because I've heard some people say they do 90-10, and everyone seems to have a different angle on how they go about splitting it with Turo. Why do you choose to go with the plans where you get paid a little bit less?
Because I realized that we were in a high claims area, and if you have the 60-40 plan, they cover for like a more of a wear and tear stuff as well. So they cover the inside as well. These other plans don't, and the other plans have a deductible. So when you're brand new, you don't want to have to pay $2,500 deductible. You may be able to do a $250, but don't do the $2,500 deductible, right? So the 60-40 just covers a lot more, and it covers if the car gets messed up, it can cover the pay that we would have lost per day for the rental. So there's
it does.
Yeah, there's more benefits on a 60-40. So the way that Turo looks at it is if you don't have another available car, they will pay you the days that the car was supposed to be rented out.
Based on what, like an average?
Yeah, based on average.
Based on the average?
What's the deductible for the 60-40?
There's no deductible.
Okay.
It's zero. So
Dang.
you just put the claim in. So you don't have to hesitate if you put the claim in. If you got the right evidence, you don't have to worry about having to pay a deductible. On a 75-25, there's a $250 deductible, and they cover things. The damage at least has to be like 3 inches. And then you'll have to pay $250 deductible, but you're not paying the deductible out of your pocket. They're just deducting it. So say the damage is $1,000. They're gonna say, all right, your deductible is $250. We're gonna take that and we're gonna give you $750. And Turo's claims department is usually good unless it's a total loss on how much they're paying you for the damage.
Dang.
I run the 75-25 just because the jump between 75 and 90 is not that big. It's $15 on $100. So the deductible goes from $250 to $2,500. So I see a lot of hosts on Facebook groups saying, oh, I got to pay $2,500 deductible. But you know what you're getting into. You know, that 15%, $15 on $100 is not worth it to me. I'd rather just run a 75-25, had $250 deductible.
Yeah, for sure. Quick break and a word from our sponsors, and we'll be right back. And we are back. Now, I want to get more into, we spoke a lot about, like you guys said, the negatives and the things that you guys should watch out for. But obviously, this is a lucrative business that you guys are involved in. What the level of dedication that you guys are putting into it, the systems, everything, what kind of money can people look to make, or what were some of the biggest months that you guys had?
So some of the biggest months I've had was like 30K. That's usually in like November. That's when we have a lot of tourists come to Las Vegas. And now since I expanded my network to multiple cities, we're making a lot more money, right? We're making a lot more money because we're doing private rental now as well. So you can see stuff like that when you have, when you have over 20, 30 cars, you making about $1,000 per car. If you're doing it right, you're making 20, 30K in a month.
Dang. Well, how do I make sure I make the 1,000 off the car?
When you first, on Turo specifically, the ways that you can make sure you make that 1,000 is, I really want people to use the Turo calculator. That definitely helps tell you what ROI. Cars like the Camry are good cars. The Mirage are good cars.
The Mitsubishi.
Yeah.
I was planning on buying one of those.
Those are really good. Like the ROI on that's really crazy.
Because you can get one for what? I seen some for like 9 with like 60,000, 50,000, 60,000 miles. Yeah. Okay. All right, cool, because I was definitely thinking of getting one of those.
Yeah, those are good. So, and it's on the calculator as well. It tells you, look, this car has the highest, annualized ROI. So I would look at that. I like to get professional photos or really clean photos you could do from your iPhone. Turo's like a really good algorithm-based app. It's just tech. You got to make sure you have nice photos. The more available your car is, the better, right? The less restrictions you do, like if you do 1-day rentals or 2-day rentals, like that stuff matters. Some people cap out. They don't do over 7-day rentals. So I like to make sure it's the most available, nicest car on the platform, especially if you're new. That's how you get up there. And then you could add extras, right? Some people add car seats, chairs, like beach chairs, depending on where you are, different things like that, so you can get up the amount per rental.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Cool. That's dope. That's a dope trick. I got to take advantage of that. Yeah. Now, how about you?
Man, so my tips would be, when you put the car up, just like Demario said, you got to have the good pictures, man. It's super important. Everybody's scrolling past normal pictures. If you have some professional photos, you're going to stand out. That's what you got to do. And number 2, I would say don't do 1-day rentals, but leave it as long as you want. Let someone take your car for 3-6 months. It's okay. You're getting paid. And
you said don't do 1 days?
Don't do 1-day rentals. And I realized this because I have heard it before, right? But I never saw proof myself. But I would have repeat clients who they message me like, hey, I was trying to book the car for this long and it's not available. I'll go on the calendar for it and it says it has 2-day booking right here. When I'm missing out on a 2-week booking. I'm like, nah, man, this ain't gonna work. So I stopped doing that. And all of a sudden my bookings are like at least a week coming in, boom, boom, boom. And I'm not missing, because anyone who's looking for 2 weeks, if you have a 1-day rental in the middle there, you automatically are not going to pop up on their screen.
Okay.
So I don't do 1-day rentals. I like to keep it open for longer trips because that's going to be worth your money more. Because if you're doing a 1-day rental, let's say you have an economy car going for $40, you get it washed. And you get it washed alone, man. You're not looking at much money. So,
yeah.
So that's not really what we do. And, man, for number 3, I would say...
What you don't want
give him a tip for private rentals. So like the private rentals, like he said, we don't do like on Turo is a different game, but private rentals, and what we mean by private rentals is renting the car without using the platform Turo, right?
Right.
Me and him, when we do private rentals, we're only looking for weekly money, right? Like the contract, tell them about the Escalade contract that we got and how long it was, and give them how much we make per week.
All right, so we got a 2021 Escalade. It's the Premier Luxury, 600 screens, everything. We had it come in from LA. Same day, I got the trackers put in. So I have someone that puts in my trackers, and they're about to close in like 2 hours, but I have built such a good relationship with my installer that I told him, hey, I need this done ASAP because this car needs to get moving right away. I had people on my wait list. They were asking me for some other all-black luxury cars that I have, but they were booked up. So I told him, hey, I got this Escalade coming in. He's like, I want it. He told me right away I want it. I said, okay. Same day we put the tracker in, we got it cleaned up because it was a little dusty. It must have been sitting. So we got it all cleaned up and we got to rent it same day, $650 a week for a year, 52 weeks. It came out to around $33,000 around there, same day.
A $33,000 contract.
Wait, how long are they going to have the car?
52 weeks.
52 weeks. And
At $650.
dang, that sounds like a great contract. So I'm sure that was very profitable because you guys didn't have to split with Turo or hire car or anything, right?
Exactly. So we just have to pay our insurance on it. But, you know, when you're making numbers like that, it's worth it because it's going to protect you. And the renter has their own insurance. And it's great because the renter is also paying for the oil changes. You know, usually we have to cover oil changes, but the renter just loves the car. He said, no, I'm going to pay for the oil changes because, you know, when you start building relationships like this with renters, they need this car. It's not just a want. It's not someone on vacation. They need this car. So this driver, he's a chauffeur driver. So before he was driving a electric Mustang, but he has clients. He's been doing it for many years. So imagine how he feels picking up his executive clients in a Mustang versus a 2021 Escalade, screens on it, panoramic sunroof, much different. So now he fell in love with the car, fell in love with the experience he's giving his customers.
Yeah, man.
Get rid of the electric Mustangs. But what I wanted to say with that, so like if you look at that, we can get a lot. That's how we have cars at scale. Like think about 100 cars aren't sitting. And people always hit me with like, whoa, you got to factor in depreciation. That car that we got, I got it from an investor. Meaning the investor will take since he owns a car, the investor will be able to write off the depreciation
Of the car?
On his taxes. We don't see any of the depreciation because we are managing that vehicle. So we get paid in profit and based off of labor, right? But the labor is gone because we have a year contract. So if we just get more and more investors, and that's how I do it, they pay for the depreciation and they pay us to manage it. The best part about it is on their end, they could write off what they pay us and they get to write off the depreciation because that's the biggest thing. People look at these investments. We look at depreciation and other things to understand the ROI. But in this specific situation, I'm able to say, well, you take the depreciation, we'll do the labor because we can't write any of that off and you could write off what you pay us. So we'll do all the work, we'll get paid in profit, and we don't have to worry about depreciation. So our bottom line is we get paid X amount of dollars per week. That's it. There's no depreciation on that.
And this specific car, if he purchased it last year, it's a complete write-off because it's over 6,000 pounds.
Wait, break that down for me.
Okay, so there was it was like a code. It was passed, right? So if the vehicle
Tax code.
tax code. So if it's over 6,000 pounds, you can write it off 100% in the first year. So
100% of it.
Exactly, 100% of it.
Under what circumstances? Just Turo or?
No, just if it's
Business
bought
use.
under business.
Yeah, business use. So that's
business
people
use.
typically talk about this as like the G-Wagon tax, right?
Yeah, I've heard about
People
that.
only hear about it under the G-Wagons, but you can do it Escalades. You could do it a lot of the cars that are over 6,000 pounds.
Trucks.
I heard even the Porsche, the new electric Porsche falls under it.
Yeah, if it's under 6,000 pounds, then it'll fall under it. So, and you know, a lot of businesses, the reason why they made this is a lot of businesses used stuff for like big equipment, like trucking equipment and different things like that for construction, stuff like that. That's a business equipment. But an Escalade in our line of work is still a business equipment. So he's able to write off. He has a really good tax benefits on this Escalade.
Dang, that's dope. What made you guys make the jump from Turo to the private rentals? Like, how did you gain the confidence to do that?
Man, I just ran the play, and once I seen it and I started getting the money from it, I was just running it all the way. And before, I wasn't running my investor's car on private. I was just doing their car on Turo. I want to get more experience. So once I started getting experience, I had the car seized. I had another accident with one of my other cars, and it was minor, but you know, it's necessary to get that experience. So once I started getting familiar with the claims process on the private side, I said, okay. I talked to my investors. I said, hey, I think we should start going to the private side. This is what I think we can make. And man, it's just been amazing results because you know, you're getting this much. Think about it as an investor, you're getting paid this much, and you keep getting paid this much, but then you get presented a new idea and you do it, and you're getting paid double, if not triple.
What does the workload look like on a day-to-day basis? Are you guys working 12, 14 hours in your Turo business, or what does that look like?
So originally, when I first started, honestly, I don't like washing cars, and I was one of those people that really like cars. So like, I did more of like It was really crazy. It's probably like 6 to 7 hours a day, and then a lot more of the back end marketing. Now, since I have multiple locations, right? Like he manages most of my cars in San Diego. I don't touch any of the cars because I'm not in there, and I have some cars out in the East Coast. So now my day to day really looks like posting content. I'm just the marketer. I get business deals from investors, but I don't really work as much as I used to. I don't have to clean any cars. I have teams in place to do that. So, we're on my side, we're looking at somebody that was able to scale and say, how do I get really good people that really like cars, that really like this business, and partner with them and do different things like that, so I can focus on what I'm good at, which is educating, which is making business deals on the investor side. So most of my day, I spend probably like 3 hours a day on this business as far as doing the marketing, taking phone calls. And I recently actually got the phone call portion out, speaking to the investors, because we made a website. So now the investors go to the website, they watch my 30-minute pitch deck, and then they book a call with us. That call's 10 minutes, and I have somebody that takes all their information down, and they either get an offer letter or they don't. But this took a long time. We just did this a month ago. So
how long did it take to get to this point?
It took, I think I'm like 2.5 years in, almost 3 years. Into doing this, yeah, because I'm like getting so many calls. I'm like, I can't keep talking to everybody that says they want to be an investor.
Yeah.
Right. So now I make them watch a video and educate them through the process. I'm one of the only few that actually have a 30-minute pitch deck for them to watch before they book a call, so they can get all of the ins and outs of what we're doing with their car, and they can even get figures.
So they have an idea of what they're making.
They have an idea what they're making. They can look at the Turo calculator to see what that looks like. They can see how much it takes to ship their car to us from out of state. So I made everything in one area so they can really get educated before. Because the biggest thing as any investor is you only care about making sure your assets protected and making sure you're getting that check.
Right.
So I rather get them all the education up front so they have less questions later.
And what about you? How does your workday look?
So my workday looks very busy just because I choose to have it that way. If I wanted to sustain and stay at the same level, then it would be very light, because I also have a team in place that they watch the cars. I was on a flight here. I got a new economy car, a Honda Fit. I got it picked up from the investor, and I had a Kia set up for smog, and the Honda needed some work on the tires. So I got all that done while I've been over here. So this is because I have systems in place as well to do the day-to-day operations. And I was starting to set up my operations that way, but DeMario helped me out a lot too, because he was making me see, as a founder and as a CEO, you can't be the ones washing the cars. You got to be the ones calling the shots, talking to executives, making sure policies are in place. So now I even have someone that trains the employees for me.
Dang.
I don't have to be training them anymore, because that's just, you have to start thinking like a CEO.
And what's the goal? Do you guys just want to build a massive fleet of thousands of cars, or what's the goal that we're trying to get to in this business? Do we want to be the next Hertz?
Honestly, my goal is definitely have more cars. I say I want to be between me and him specifically as partners, I want to have at least over 500 cars. And be one of the people in the West Coast that's really pushing it. Just because I make so much content every day and I talk about this. The second goal is, and these are things that I haven't seen too many people achieve. So I like goals that most people haven't achieved in the industry. It's very competitive. So the second goal is to be able to do this with a jet, right? My goal is to get an investor to get me a jet, because they'll be able to do a same tax write-off. This is crazy. They'll be able to write off the jet if they have enough money. They'll give me the jet, and we book it for, trips for people to use. But I want them to actually give me the jet and say, all right, you guys do the work. So I want to move from just the car space into the aviation space, because I see that being very lucrative. When you look at like jet suites and JSX and different things like that, more and more people are getting hip to want to ride jets.
Yeah. I seen this this service where you can pay like a monthly, and then it's like $90 a trip to go to like California, Oregon, different places like that. So I've been seeing that as well. People want that. They want that lifestyle. They want a piece of it for sure. And what about for your company?
Man, for my company, so right now, if you contact us, right, and you're in a major city, you contact us and we can get you into a car with one of our partners. But my goal is to ultimately have our own locations there. So I'm trying to have so my company's SD City Rentals. I'm trying to have New York City Rentals, Phoenix City Rentals, San Francisco City Rentals. So I'm trying to have cars everywhere. And I'm also trying to take care of customers that are connected to the aviation scene. So I'm trying to create partnerships with hangars and have all types of luxury cars. So let's say you're flying on a jet and you landed in San Francisco. I want to be one of the first ones there with the Rolls Royce for you. You know, so that's the ultimate goal. First, my goal was get 100 economy cars under my belt, and then start going into the exotic realm. And I have some sports cars, some luxury cars, but you know, the economy cars is just a whole different ball game. But
What makes you more bread?
man, the economy car is making me a lot of bread. Because think about it, the luxury car, it could get crashed, it's gonna be down for a while. The economy car, if it gets crashed a little bit, you get it fixed fast. You know,
Yeah.
I have a car. It's a sports car. I've been waiting for suspension parts for 2 or almost 3 months now.
Damn.
And I'm getting paid every day sitting because of loss of use again. But, you know, it's annoying. My economy cars, no work, just money. So, you know, it's just all you got to do is just say, hey, the rent get paid, but I'm also creating a system that way where it's just reoccurring payments.
Yeah, man, no, that's dope.
This is like I look at this like the way I look at the industries in a whole, right? Like the economy in the United States is. We seen it with Instagram. Instagram just came out with a subscription model. People laugh and talk about the blue check, but that made Instagram billions of dollars. That made them every month, not once, every month. So in the car industry,
Was it like $15.99?
bro, $15.99 plus all the people on Instagram that got it. It's insane how much money they're making. We look at it at $15. They look at it as like, okay, well, we just did really good because we made our next year's the projections this big, right? So I look at the car industry,
genius.
bro. I look at the car industry as this. Why can't we have a subscription model? You can fly on a jet, have a subscription model.
Yeah.
So the way we started to do, the way he does, and the way we do it, having that weekly income, I know that I have a renter in, we getting paid that week. Every week we get paid. That's the closest to subscription model that we got, and it's way better than having to clean your cars 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 times a month. Like, bro, honestly, one of my cars went out like 15 days to 15 different people on 2 days. So we had to have it cleaned 15 times. We had to take 15 car wash fees. I had to take 15, payments to whoever cleaned the cars, like their labor, 15 drop-offs versus having one renter pay us $400 every single week. That's our subscription model.
It's just crazy because someone may say, oh, I'm making $1,600 on Turo or $1,800 on Turo, but you're not factoring everything else. Like, how much money did you spend on the car washes? How much money did you spend on Uber, Lyft to transport the car? All that. So it's not the same. This is just, we get the renter, we get the car, and it's gone. We could do 6 months, 12 months, 3 months. You know, we could give you a better deal. You're looking for over 6 months, and we're just sitting back.
Yeah, the long term deals seem like better because after it's gone and it's rented, you just have to worry about making sure all the claims and everything are good, right?
Exactly. And the likelihood of someone, you know, obviously cases happen, but let's say you have someone in the car for 6 months, 12 months, the likelihood of any accidents because of their fault happening is much less by that point because they're familiar with the car. You already know they've been driving the car good if they've had it that long. So it's a lot safer also.
Man, no, that's dope. That's dope.
I want to run them through the private rental play right quick.
But run us through the private rental play real quick and how we can start making money there.
Okay, so if you want to do private rentals, the first thing I would do is I would contact insurance companies like Lula, and you can use them and ABI. Those are 2 companies that you could possibly use, right? After you get the insurance portion, you need to understand that you need a tracker, right? You need to put a tracker in the car, and typically a kill switch. What kill switches do we use out there in San Diego?
It's from iLocate Lender Systems.
Okay, so after you put that into the car, you're going to want to start marketing. Use Facebook groups like Uber and Lyft driver groups. Now, some are city specific. So there may be a Uber, Lyft drivers of Las Vegas. Go ahead and let them know, hey, I'm renting this car out for $400 a week. Another place you're going to want to go is Hire Car, and you're going to want to put the car on Hire Car and put your phone number on Hire Car so they could contact you directly. Now, once they contact you, you need to just make sure you have a contract, right? The easiest contract that you can find or make online, you can use stuff like Rocket Lawyer to create a contract. Or you can even use ChatGPT that will type you up a contract.
Oh, yeah.
Literally, and you have your renter sign that. Make sure it does it state specific. And then when they pick the car up, just make sure you get a deposit and you check that they have insurance as well. You want to have their own insurance on your car. That's the most things people miss.
What do you mean? Like, how would they go about getting insurance on your car?
So they just contact a company. Like somebody contacted Allstate. They contacted and let them know, I want to use this car. I need to get insurance on it. And people do this all the time when you look at just friends sharing cars or parents and siblings. They're really everybody's supposed to be insured that's driving a vehicle.
Right.
So you can do that, especially if they're using it for a month or 2 months or 3 months. They should get insurance on the car.
Right.
That way, if there's a crash, their insurance is the first one to get hit, not your policy.
Okay.
You see what I'm saying? So that's just some things that I would look at, and then get a deposit. I like to get a cash deposit. At least should cover the deductible, right? So it should be a $500 if there's a $500 deductible for the insurance.
Okay.
So that way nobody's coming out of pocket. If they get in a crash, they don't even have to come out of pocket again. They just, look, I got the $500. Let's pay that deductible and let's get the car fixed. And then rinse and repeat. The biggest thing people fail is they don't market enough. Market on Facebook, Instagram, friends and families, and that's like the easiest way to do it in a nutshell.
Man.
And if you just
I'm
get
running
started,
this myself.
Yeah, you got to run the private rental play, man.
Yeah, I gotta get started with this. I think I'm gonna get the I'm gonna get the Mirage first.
Oh, the Mitsubishi?
Yeah, I've been looking at those.
Bro, those are like really, really cheap, and they're actually not bad cars. I have one in Atlanta, and I was driving it.
I rented one out on Turo.
Yeah, it's not bad.
Yeah, it wasn't that bad. They kind of have those goofy horns. It's like
Yeah, and some of the one we have, you have to do like the windows weren't automatic, so we had to like sit here and do that. Like,
but no, you can get I've been looking on OfferUp.
okay, yeah, that's a good spot. Honestly, using OfferUp, Facebook Marketplace to buy cars is actually a hack. Instead of going to, especially if you have cash, instead of going to like the used dealerships. I think I picked
that up from you guys.
Yeah,
I picked that up from you guys.
Hey, look, and then for Lula, you need to have at least 3 cars. So last time I checked, you need to have at least 3 cars. So one way around this is when I just got started, I got the Honda. It was my first car, and I was trying to go into the private side of things, and I didn't have the commercial insurance yet. So one thing you can do is, this is more risky, and I don't recommend it. If you have enough cars to get the commercial insurance, then do it. But if you're willing to take the risk, then you can do this by using your personal insurance, and you're going to add the driver to your insurance policy. You're gonna call
kind of like how your mom or your dad would.
Exactly. So this is something that you could do if you have a small fleet and you don't have the commercial insurance yet. So that's what I did. I added them. And since I was so young at the time, my insurance rate was high. When I added the driver on there, he had a good record. It dropped my insurance. So it ended up working out. So
that's dope.
That's one way you could do it if you're not set up completely to do the commercial insurance yet, and you're willing to take that risk and you want to get involved.
Man, that's dope, man. A lot of value out of this podcast. Where can we find more information about working with you guys and being an investor, or even learning more about it? Because we went over a lot of things that they can apply today, but I'm sure there's more intricacies to it that are going to take them to the next level. So where can we find you, and what all do we have to offer to the audience so they can get to the next level with Turo?
So if you guys want to become an investor, you guys can go to makeyourcaranasset.com or text the word START to 702-602-6399. Again, text the word START to 702-602-6399. And you guys will able to see the whole walkthrough on how we deal with the cars, what we do, what's the figures look like, and I really show you guys how you're protected.
And you can find me on Facebook, Jose Moreno. I'm on Instagram, The Real Gordizzi. If you're interested in learning about the rental industry, you can go on fleetbuildermentorship.com, and I have some free game on there as well, because we could go on and on. We could just go on and on. Or you could contact me at 1-800-519-4639, and I can help you get started. I offer one-on-one consultation calls, mentorships, everything to get you to the next level.
Cool, man. I really do appreciate you guys coming out. All their stuff is going to be right down below in the description box, whether you're listening to this on audio or on YouTube. And that's going to be it for this episode, guys. I'll see you on the next one. Peace.
Sheesh.